Welcome to our channel, Flavors with Boo and
Potato. Hey, how's everybody doing? Today, we want to discuss what I think is affecting millions of Americans today. And it's whether buying a home is still the American dream or is just renting an apartment. Is that still, feasible to do? So, that being said, there's a lot of discussion going on that the American dream has died, so we want to just discuss a few of those things that everybody's saying that, the pros and the cons to owning a home versus renting.
Right.
Me, myself, I believe renting, there's nothing wrong with renting, especially an apartment. Do you agree?
I agree to a certain extent.
Why?
Because at first, it depends on the person, because when you're young, you feel so empowered that you need to own something. Buy a house. But as you get older, you start thinking when you do have a house, all the responsibility it takes to have a house versus when you renting. So, it has its pros and cons.
Me particular, I liked when I was young and I was renting an apartment, especially when income tax time came and, you got your little $1,000, $2,000 and you went to Family Furniture somewhere and you bought your new furniture and you fixed it up and you invited your friends over and everybody you was civilized and it was nothing wrong with renting an apartment, so.
But you could do that by owning.
Yeah, but, I think one of the freedoms about renting an apartment, and you chime in if you like about this, is, I think one of the freedoms about renting an apartment is you have freedom.
That's true.
Like, for instance, you could get it on a month-to-month lease.
Exactly.
And
flexibility.
That flexibility. Mm-hmm. So if you got roaches or anything in that apartment, if you got roaches in your apartment,
you can have it in your house too.
Yeah, but I'm saying, a lot of folks, they rented those apartments and they found out once they cut the lights off. I had one of those apartments. You remember?
Sure do.
That was dead. That was years ago.
But he beat me out the kitchen. I ran in the kitchen.
Yeah, I didn't know until I cut that lights on and then roaches just started running. But that right there will make you move, and you're able to move when some of that type of stuff happens to you. So you have the freedom and flexibility to pick up and just go.
Absolutely.
Not to mention, for instance, you might not have to pay utility bills.
That's a plus.
So.
You feel like you have free water. You could take your shower how long you want to.
Yes.
Just run water flex how you want to. So
and you take long showers too, right?
I do.
Maybe we need to move back in an apartment or something.
Hey, I'm not picky. If we have to, I'll be game. Because what about the yard work you have to do? The maintenance you have to do. Now put in consideration the air conditioner. Ours just blew out.
Yes, and when that happens, that's going to cost you anywhere $5,000 to $10,000.
Absolutely.
And if you didn't save that money or emergency fund, you might be SOL.
Out of luck.
And that's never a good thing, especially for retired folks.
Absolutely.
Because you start living on a fixed income.
Right.
So if an emergency disaster happened in your house, you got to dig in that emergency fund and come out. You didn't expect that, especially if you're new into your retirement.
That's true. So renting, it may seem like it's the way to go right now in this year and time.
Right. But what's some of the other pitfalls to owning a house versus renting?
Home association fees.
Wow, that could be a nightmare.
Oh my God. Some people are lucky enough not to have it when they purchase their home. But however, some people have it.
And my advice to anybody out there, if you're about to move into a new house or a house, period, if it's an HOA, run.
Run.
Because they act like they own your house.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and that's a problem there, you know. So HOAs, you have to pay your own utilities. You have to, if trash, and if something breaks down, like we discussed as far as the AC is concerned, anything break down in your home, you're either going to have a homeowner's warranty, or you're going to have to be handy with them tools. And you know, women, some of y'all have those young men out there who are not very handy with them tools.
And sometimes the warranty run out. So after you purchase a home, you have to buy extended warranty to keep that warranty going in your house in case certain things break down. But versus apartments, you just call the maintenance guy.
Right, exactly.
And they come fix what needs to be fixed.
Man, your garbage is supposed to go out, call the maintenance guy.
Your air conditioner come out,
call the maintenance guy.
The water start acting up.
But they might not come when you need them.
Yeah, but they come right on time.
But versus you and your house, man, when that AC go out,
Jesus.
My God, you're gonna have to buy a window unit, but your HOA so you can't put one out front, you know, so you're gonna be in your house hot. So it's a lot of things to think about when it comes to owning a home.
Right.
You know, what else you say about?
What about when you own in a home and you're in a certain area and then your taxes go up?
Wow, that's another problem. See, and that's the thing, you know, well, we could debate that on both ends because, you know, for instance, my mother used to live in an apartment complex in Bowie, Maryland. She used to rent a luxury apartment. They call them luxury apartments, you know. Well, anyway, the apartment complex kept raising her rent every year.
Yes.
And to myself, I'm thinking, how could they keep raising the rent on their tenants? How do they expect to keep good tenants in these places? You know, you want to raise the rent up when you're good tenants and then kick them out and then start from scratch from somebody else? It don't make sense. So,
and that's a law that they have in the state of Maryland where they can do that.
They can raise the rent anytime they feel like it. But a house, you know, you're a little bit more stable as far as your rent is concerned or your mortgage is concerned, because normally you get on a 30-year fix or 15 year, whatever your financial situation is and whatever kind of loan you lock in, contract that you sign. However, there's loopholes to that too.
Oh yeah.
You can lock into a $1,500 a month mortgage, and then all of a sudden you're paying your mortgage consistently, and then you start noticing your mortgage has been changed.
Yeah, higher every 3 months or something.
No. Well, you know, it felt like that. They kept raising.
Yeah, in a year it seemed like.
But what happens when your mortgage changes, and a lot of people get hit off guard with it, is that the taxes change in the state wherever they live at.
Right.
You know, so make sure when you get into your home, you get under the homestead program, that your taxes can only change but so much.
Okay.
Well, that being said, your taxes, is nothing you could do about that. When the taxes change in your home, it's going to increase your mortgage payment. So you have to keep that in mind. But the other thing that might get some of you guys, and some of you guys probably be like, man, my mortgage is going so high, I can't afford to stay in this house. Check your insurance.
Oh yeah, because a lot of people are not familiar with the insurance increasing. You know, so they're just like, initially at first, we were paying and seeing an increase and not understanding, wait, why is this increasing? So it got to the point where it was just too many increase. So we realized it was our insurance.
A homeowner's insurance. Wow. But see, this was all being, in our younger days, being educated on what was happening with your mortgage. You just get in your house happy, and then you're paying your mortgage, and then all of a sudden, pow, in your face. You're like, man, you know, you think you're going to be paying this one price, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, your budget has increased. But look into your insurance frequently. And then if your insurance becomes out of hand, make sure you shop around for better insurance. You know, luckily I was in the military and I got military insurance, and they give you a cheaper rate save me money.
We say what, $500-$600?
About $600.
And on top of that, we got a refund from it.
But make sure they cover the same things that you had before.
Exactly.
Otherwise, you might be underinsured.
Right.
You know, so those are some of the things that, you know, can actually, you know, affect the difference between buying or renting. You know, one other thing that a lot of people say when it comes to owning a home versus an apartment is that with a house, you build wealth. So they say if you rent an apartment,
ooh, boy,
what are you doing? You're just throwing your money away. You're throwing your money away. You know, so those are things to take into whereas you might build some wealth in your home if the price that you're paying for your house decreases and your equity goes up into your home.
Right.
And if your house is not decreasing in value, ain't no wealth in that. And not to mention the price it costs to own a home today is out the roof.
Including and interest rate.
Right. So
extremely high.
Yes. So if you sell your house, you might get a good little piece of change out of there, but try to find another house.
Oh, that's not happening. Well, it can happen because some people we know, they sold their house, got a nice amount of money, but it took them years before they found another home.
Right.
And when they found another home, it was nothing like the home that they actually sold.
Wow.
So yeah, it depends on the individual exactly what they want to do.
Right. And again, own a renting apartment, you know, you can save your money. You can build you an emergency fund, and you can go places anywhere you want.
And then also from an apartment saving money, you can save enough money where you can buy a fixer-upper and no mortgage.
Exactly. And
pay it off, and you have no mortgage.
But you're still gonna be paying them taxes.
But you can never get away from paying taxes here. So
right.
You're never going to get away from doing that.
And then one other thing is that old down payment it costs to move into a house. That's very hefty.
My goodness.
You know, and to move in a house these days, you have to come up with anywhere from $25,000-$50,000 and up. So you have to ask yourself, am I going to empty my trust fund, my bank account, my 401, any money you got
house broke
to move into that home because you might become what? What did you say, bro?
House poor.
House poor.
Just only can afford to pay your mortgage. Can't travel. Can barely feed yourself. Utilities behind. Can't save money.
You can't fix nothing in the home.
Right.
You know, me personally, I'd rather move into an apartment before I take, especially, I'm talking about for the economy today. I would take my money and I would invest it, make it grow, save it, travel, do whatever I want to do. And then when the interest rates drop down on these houses and the payments come back down, then maybe buying a house might be suffice and might be the American dream again. But don't count on that anytime soon.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Unfortunately. But everything has to be strategically planned.
Right.
You know, if people plan it out a certain way, then it shouldn't be as hard for them to own a house.
Right.
You know, so it depends on, like, again, the individuals and how people plan their life and their finances.
Yeah, I get it. Not to mention, mortgages. Again, like we said earlier, could be 30-year fixed, 15 years, whatever variables that you pick in a contract and sign. But oftentimes, buying a home can make you feel trapped. You just can't get up and say, I'm going to move. That 30-year mortgage is like a ball and chain around your leg that you're dragging with you.
Right.
The only way out of that is to sell the home or, basically sell the home and get the money or sell it and move into another home.
And then on certain situations, the house can stay on the market for a very long time before you sell it. So you're paying your rent for your home, and you're paying your mortgage for your home, and rent from wherever you decide to move to.
But I remember a couple. They were looking for a house, and what happened was they put their house on the market, and then their home sold within a week. Their home sold within a week. Go figure that one out, people. And then guess what they had to do? They had to try to find a new home to move into. And it took them 2 whole years before they found the house. So guess what happens with the money that you earn from the home that you sold?
You didn't use.
You're using some of that money to you're either going to buy an apartment to stay in. So here we go. We're back at the apartment. We're back at the apartment. You're either going to stay at an apartment, or you're going to move back in with family and friends. And I hope you don't have any pets, because that right there could be a serious problem, especially if you got to get rid of poor Fido.
Oh my God, your pet is your family.
So that could be a trap right there. You understand?
Yeah, most definitely.
Right. So what else you like to add on this bill? I think a lot of people can relate to this issue, because a lot of this stuff we experience.
Yeah, most definitely.
So owning an apartment is nothing wrong with owning an apartment.
Renting an apartment.
Renting an apartment. Yeah, you can own some of them now.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah. Co-op. It's called co-ops or something. But me personally, I'm not into that.
And then condos, you have those high fees when you purchase condos.
Right.
So you might have people to come in and service like they do apartments, but
right.
I'm not sure, because I never, had a condo, so I can't really speak on that as much. But.
Right. I get it. So again, owning an apartment is a good choice. It's still a good choice. Or owning a house is a great choice also. It depends on the person finances. If the person is a flexible person and like to get up and go and move, versus a person who like more stability and they want to be in one place for quite a long time. So either way you go, there's nothing wrong with it.
There's not. And what I enjoy the most about apartment is the flexibility. Especially for the younger generation. They pick up and they want to move to Texas, or they want to move to California. You can lease an apartment for month to month.
Right.
You may pay more, but you still can see your way out to another state if you enjoy traveling, versus getting locked into a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage. You're locked in. So you're still going to have to pay it, versus the rent. So it's pretty much, I think, for the younger people, as far as renting, I think it's a pretty great thing to do.
I think the biggest problem with renting an apartment today is that people today equate being successful in America to owning a house.
That part.
It was a story I heard that 50 Cent's told. And we know 50 Cent got a lot of money. Hey, 50, if you out there, we'll give you shots out. And 50 said that with all the money he had, he owned one of the biggest houses out there at one time. He said, but he would never purchase another big house again. He said, because I didn't know what was down the end of that long hall, and I wasn't going to find out if I heard a noise down there.
No way, buddy.
So owning big houses and all that does not equate to success.
It doesn't.
You can rent you a nice apartment, because what I was taught when I was coming up, my mother always taught me that if it's, no matter what it is, if it's a small apartment, make it your Taj Mahal.
Oh, yeah.
So when you came into my apartment, you just always felt like you was at a nice spot. So there's nothing wrong with it. But the problem with renting apartments today is actually they're becoming more expensive than the house mortgages.
Oh my goodness! Yes, for a 1 bedroom in this area that we live in, it's like 15 on up for one bedroom. I actually seen 2,000 for one
That
bedroom.
is ridiculous.
For one bedroom.
Ridiculous.
And the square footage is so small.
What is going on here?
So small.
What is going on here?
So that's making people buy. You know, because they like, why am I going to invest in like you say, people feel like they're throwing their money away.
Throwing their money away.
They're like, why am I going to do this for this small square footage?
Right.
Just to get the maintenance and the service free,
Right.
which is not really free. You're paying it out your monthly rent.
Mm.
But I'd rather rent. I mean, I'd rather purchase a home.
Right, because your mortgage, you're going to lock into a cheaper mortgage than for these expensive luxury apartments that are really not a luxury. You know, for instance, the going rent for 2-bedroom apartments in Maryland is around 2,500. Well, that's the low end. The high end is 3,000s and up. So,
and then also location.
my goodness,
location.
And
because even in some parts that's not as safe, they are still
expensive. Right.
Expensive. Now, if you go to an area that's not as bad to go to, it's double the price,
right,
triple the price.
And not only that, you can't pick your neighbors.
Yeah, you can't.
You know, so when you buy a house, you could go around at nighttime. And before you buy that house, you better go around at nighttime to see what your neighbors look like. Because if you just go in the morning time and it's hot outside, they ain't gonna be outside. They ain't gonna be outside. You know what I'm saying? So when you go and you looking for a new house, just go ride around at nighttime in the neighborhood just to see what you're gonna see. Because like they said back in the day, the freaks come out at night. You know I'm telling the truth now. Hey, we got folks who moved to Baltimore and certain places up there, and they didn't check the area that they was in, and they actually just left their places and stuff. So, people will leave their places.
Check it, but right now, the world that we're living in, especially since the pandemic, you can be in one of the best neighborhoods and people come in there too, trying to take from you, steal, rob, or whatever. So the number one thing is being prayed up and praying that God keep you safe.
Oh yeah.
Because now it's to the point, where is it safe?
Right. So again, owning a home versus renting is really up to the individual. There's no wrong or right way of doing it. As long as you're in a nice, decent neighborhood, as long as it worked for you, as long as you know all the different variables in the research and education parts of that, make the choice that fits you best. And that being said, if you like anything that we're talking about here during this discussion, make sure you
like,
comment,
and subscribe
to what?
Flavors with Boo and
Potato.
Peace.